What's up, YouTube? It's your boy KJ, and YouTube, boy, do we got something to talk about today. I stumbled across this video, and it's saying that Clyde Drexler was just as good as MJ. That's what it's saying. That's what their peers are saying. So of course we got to dive into this and see what's what. Because I remember seeing Clyde the Glide lead the free throw line for a layup. You feel me? So I know the boy was tough back in the gap. But let's dive into this and see what Michael and everybody else had to say about Clyde. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel, guys, and let's get right to it.
And MJ said that Clyde Drexler is just as good as me.
MJ said that Clyde Drexler is just as good as me. I heard that. I know y'all heard it.
The threat.
I mean, he jumped over my head and dunked.
And MJ said that Clyde Drexler is just as good as me.
Clyde was a threat.
I mean, he jumped over my head and dunked.
Man, it was must-see TV, but
Clyde Drexler was doing it alongside Jordan at the same time.
Wow.
Sometimes even better.
Michael Jordan thus far 4 for 11 for 8 points. Clyde Drexler 3 out of 7 for 9. It's quite a matchup between these two. And earlier I talked about it with Michael.
Well, Clyde is somewhat of a mirror of me in a sense. I mean, he's so versatile. He plays, offense, he plays defense. He's good with assists. He can score. So you got to respect him in all areas of basketball. I'm just going to try to contain him as much as possible. Try to force him to shoot the outside shot, as most people try to force me to shoot the outside shot, and force him to his weaker hand, which is left. And that's what people do to me. So hopefully it can work against him.
Man, MJ said that. Judging by what they said, force him to shoot the outside shot, force him to his left hand. Those are things I know I've heard people say about Jordan over and over again back when they played him, especially the bad boys from the Detroit bad boys. So it's just listening to that, it do sound like he mirrored, like their games mirrored each other. Not that he was copying Jordan, not that Jordan was copying him. Got to give them their respect. Give each one of them their own respect. Now, if you play the sport and two people just happen to, their games are similar, that's just what it is. But I don't think either one of them was copying each other. Their games were just similar.
To shoot the outside shot, as most people try to fancy place.
Quite a matchup between these two. And earlier I talked about it with Michael.
Well, Clyde is somewhat of a mirror of me in a sense. I mean, he's so versatile. He plays, offense, he plays defense. He's good with assists. He can score.
Two-way
so you got to
player.
respect him in all areas of basketball. I'm just going to try to contain him as much as possible. Try to force him to shoot the outside shot, as most people try to force me to shoot the outside shot, and force him to his weaker hand, which is left. And that's what people do to me. So hopefully it can work against him.
It was like 4 of us, MJ included. And the conversation came up about Clyde Drexler. And MJ said this, and I quote, Clyde Drexler is just as good as me. He just don't know how to play the game. Do you follow me? And we ain't talking about basketball. And that was the question. What do you mean? You know what the fuck I mean. Point blank.
I want to know what he meant by that. I'm very curious. Like, what did you mean by he just don't know how to play the game? I don't know. And then another thing, they forced, everybody wanted to force Mike to that left hand, which was his less dominant hand. But that right hand was a beast. I think I did a video on that. Just talking about that right hand. That right hand was something, wow. It just, man, the ball fakes, the blocks, the one-hand dunks, like even though the defense swinging, he knock you down with that left hand and go on up another foot and dunk on you. That right hand, something else.
I remember being in the 8th, 9th, 10th grade watching Clyde Drexler play, sitting on my couch and really starting to have distractions for the game of basketball. Even though I was outside playing it, maybe 20 minutes earlier, I would come in, watch the game for a little bit, and then go back out and play again. I could never sit in front of the TV and watch it. But then when they started saying Clyde Drexler and show when he dunked the ball or anything great he did, I was attracted to the TV. It made me want to sit there and watch it. When he almost jumped from the free throw line, I think he was playing the Lakers. And, both his feet up in the air. That was his signature, dunk. One hand came down the lane. He floated. Clyde came up with both his legs. I used to always pick my legs up. I used to always say that, when I did that, I was Clyde Drexler.
And the Bucks with numbers.
Hold up. glide from the free throw line to dunk the ball. You see how media does stuff? Because when I was coming up, I would have thought Jordan was the first. That's the only person that was publicized when I started watching. I never knew that Clyde, hence the name Clyde the Glide, took off from the free throw line. Man, come in the game? Come on, bro. Come on.
When he almost jumped from the free throw line, I think he was playing Lakers, and you know both his feet up in the air. That was his signature, dunk. One hand came down the lane. He floated. When Clyde dunked,
I almost dumped from the free throw line, so I get it. But man, still the athleticism, and then he got his feet tucked. Come on, man.
Clyde came up with both his legs.
Ooh.
I used to always pick my legs up. I used to always say that, when I did that, I was Clyde Drexler.
And the Bucks with numbers. Brandon up.
Ooh.
Ray Allen, the slam. Gorgeous alley-oop.
A lot of people don't realize that Clyde is 6'7", 6'7", 6'8". He had like a 44-inch vertical. He was jumping out of the gym.
18.
A 44-inch vertical, guys. Lord. Ain't that's 4 shy of being 4 feet off the ground for your vertical.
11. Long basket.
Dang.
He climbed the golden ladder for that. All top of the key, top of the
Oh.
Oh my goodness. You're not supposed to be able to do that.
A lot of credit went to Michael Jordan for him being able to do things he's done, but Clyde Drexler was doing it alongside Jordan at the same time.
Ain't that something?
Sometimes he's better.
It's so wild how the camera could be on one person. You can have multiple people doing the same thing, but the only one that's going to be highlighted or ran through the media is the one that the camera's on the most. So now I kind of understand it. When they want you to be that one, I kind of get that a little bit. The camera, I guess, I don't know if it was the Bulls market was better with Jordan coming through North Carolina, then going to the NBA. You know what I mean? Did that mean something? Because Clyde was there. And if he was already doing all this, it kind of makes you wonder why the camera wasn't on him just as much. Especially when his talents were just at the same level. And I'm not talking about shy. I'm talking about at the same level. If it might have been even better at some days. You know what I mean? Depending on the day.
The thing that made Clyde so special, his athleticism was off the charts. And, I remember watching him in college when they had the great team Phi Slamma Jamma. He came into the NBA dunking, but when you go back and you look at some of his college dunks, you're like, whoa.
You never lose that image in your head of Clyde taking off from the free throw.
Man, that was Clyde dunking on Manute right there.
You're like, whoa.
You never
Did I throw him new bowl? Dunked on him so easy.
Off from the free throw line over Andre Turner of Memphis State and just dunking that thing. You're like, oh my God, did he jump from the 3-point line? Is someone really that athletic? Watching Clyde in his early days in Portland, you were like, Clyde was must-see TV.
It's known for his acrobatic.
He's just a quiet superstar. A humble superstar. That's all I can say about him. Because if you look at the dunks, athleticism, and what they saying, there's nothing. His game, and like Jordan said, their games mirrored each other so well.
Acrobatic drives to the basket, his high-flying dunks and all. And I just kept remembering him hitting jump shots in the NBA Finals. And I remember going into the Finals saying, okay, I'm going to make him shoot jump shots. And that's the weak part of his game. And he kept hitting jump shots. And I kept thinking, he can't be doing this to me right now in the NBA Finals.
Think about being in the finals, right? And you done came up with your plan of attack. Here's a player out there that's dominant on the other team, but his weakness is jump shots. And you get to the finals, and this fool is hitting all his jump shots. Man. Oh, but if that don't take all the wind out your balloon, I don't know what will, man. I'll be like, you know what? Oh, well, maybe next year. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. You know what I'm saying?
I stood there to take a charge, and he came full blast, and I'm holding myself, and I'm looking at this dude, and I'm saying, he's going to kill me. He's like going to run me over, and he's not going to stop. He's not slowing down. And then he jumped. And I remember this fool jumping, right? and just going and going. And I was like, he gonna kick me. And then he tucked his legs up under and his knees like floated right over my head and he dunked it. And I was like, oh my God, he just dunked that basketball. That's my memory of Clyde Drexler. I mean, he jumped over my head and dunked.
And not at one point can I remember doing Clyde.
Sometimes it's all right to do like LeBron, just get out the way. Russell Westbrook, when old boy dunked, the little young cat for the Blazers. Sometimes it's just best to get out the way. You can't stop a dunk when they up that high and you still on the ground. Nobody wants a knee sandwich to the mouth. It just don't taste good. It's just not going to be tasty.
His career, he was ever pointing to about him. It's about Clyde Drexler. Yes, he wanted to eventually win a championship and went to Houston, was a part of that. But he always carried himself in a professional manner, meaning the team was first. So I understand his comments. Even when in the 92 finals, and I would happen to be coming out of college, it was a draft combine in Chicago. I was at, game 1 or game 2. I think it was game 1 when Michael Jordan had the 6 3-pointers. Even at that time, when he was trying to pit Michael against Clyde kind of stayed out of the fray because he understood that in order for Portland to win, it wasn't about he and Michael Jordan going up again. It was about the Trailblazers trying to do what they needed to do to beat the Bulls.
Here you go. Let's hear it again.
In order for Portland to win, even at that time when the media was trying to pit Michael against Clyde.
There you go, people. The culprit. He just said who the culprit was. The media. Because the media got to drum up. They got to drum up something exciting enough to pull in attention, right? They're selling attention. That's what they got to pull up, storylines and whatever you got to do to pull the people in. You want viewership. So that's what it's all about. So Clyde didn't bite into it, but that's what they were trying to. Because, I mean, how many times have you heard about a game that's going to play KD's going home versus Russell Westbrook? First time back at OKC playing Russ. You know what I mean? That kind of storyline is gonna grab at you. It's going and you next you know you tuning in. So I get it. That's how the media make money. It's just that Clyde went in for it like that.
Clyde kind of stayed out of the fray because he understood that in order for Portland to win, it wasn't about he and Michael Jordan going up again. It was about the Trailblazers trying to do what they needed to do to beat the Bulls.
We can definitely talk about the 92 finals. Had a chance to play with a guy that, I idolized young and had a chance to play against Clyde in the finals. And I must say I was very afraid going into that series because it was that moment really where Clyde was probably one of my biggest challenges for as a small forward in the game, a guy that played a lot like me, a lot of speed, athleticism, can handle the ball, make plays. So
Damn.
It was a big challenge for me to be able to have to run up against a guy like Clyde. It was a lot of fun, a lot of great memories that I take from playing against that Portland team, especially against Clyde.
That dog Clyde got respect, man. You feel me? And then I'm not gonna even overlook when he fast break down that court. Jordan just let him have that one. It was a little bit of, like I'm on you a little bit, but I'm really not on you. He let Clyde go and dump that thing. We'll worry about that on the next rip. We'll score to match his score. You know what I mean? So, yeah. You get too airborne, I got to get out the way. We got to let you have that. It ain't nothing you can do anyway besides get your ass hurt.
Otis Thorpe was our dude.
There were a couple of guys that were undecided about the trade and had questions about it.
This guy comes in, sits down in our locker room, crosses his leg, reading the Wall Street Journal.
When you're mad about a trade, you kind of stay mad.
Who is this dude? Telling us how to win. Dude, we beat you last year. So it's like, who is this guy? And then we go, oh, he's special.
Clyde came in and started hooping. I'm like, man,
Dang.
This dude, he's on a mission.
It was a good time, man. We had so much fun playing with Clyde, and this game, man, was so unique. I'm telling you, and Clyde,
I appreciate the honesty though. Y'all were honest about it. Y'all didn't like it at first. We beat y'all last year. Now you come to our team and you trying to tell us how to win. We beat you. We beat you. You feel me? Go over there and sit down somewhere. Nobody want to hear that. But then when the man started hooping, they had to respect it. You know what I'm saying? So I just appreciate the honesty in these stories. And another thing I appreciate is like seeing your big dogs go against each other. Like most of your big dogs were two-way players. Like it's two sides to basketball. And everybody know this from 20. If you play 21, you know this. It's everybody for themselves in the game 21. But in 21, you're going to do your best on offense. You score, you go to the line. If you miss and somebody else get the ball, you on defense. And you trying to keep them from scoring, right? So you automatically a two-way player. And so I like to see it in the league. When I see when I see those elite players, man, they are like a while ago when Clyde was going up against, he was getting ready to hold Michael Jordan, play defense on Michael. He was pulling them shorts up. He was getting in his defensive stand. He was shuffling them feet. Shuffling them feet. Man, boy. All the English I done had in school. He was shuffling his feet. Had his arms out. He's getting ready to play some defense on the best player on the Bulls team. He wasn't shying away from that. You feel me? A lot of times you see people, we duck the best player in today's game. You know, that's for different reasons and whatnot. Some people are just, their thing is scoring or their thing is defense. So I get that sometimes, but like, it's just good seeing those real deal matchups from people. They don't say they the GOAT. They kind of show you that they GOAT. Feel me?
Tell you something too, Clyde. I don't think you knew this, but you know, when you got on the team, you were known for.
Oh yeah, and there's a couple people say I talk too much. This is a reaction channel. There is always a link to the video in my description. I don't own these videos. There's a link to the video in my description. So if you want to watch it without me, it's cool, people. It existed before I reacted to it. So go check it out. You don't have, you talk too much. Do you think I'm going to come over there and let me get back to the video.
Being late all the time. Yeah.
Hold up, Ron. In Portland, we have a rank system. Not only if you were late, you had to pay everybody. So
yeah, dog. Yeah, to pay people when you late.
I was the on-time guy. Now hold up. You called me late coming to that Houston team.
Hold on. Now you don't know this. I want you to go back and ask anybody. We changed the time up in practice. I think we said, I can't remember exactly. We said practice was going to be at 10:30. We told you that. But we told everybody else that practice is going to be at 11 o'clock, so practice could start on time.
First time I'm on the break with Clyde Drexler, and he used to with his head down, and I'm running the lane real hard. I didn't realize he saw me, and he threw a nice hard pass, and my hands couldn't get up quick enough and hit me in the head. I was like, oh, he was like, going back down the court. You know, Clyde was the guy, didn't say too much on the basketball court. He just led by example, and he whispered to me, stay ready. I see you. You don't think I see you. I see you. So from that day on, when I ran, I kept my eyes on Clyde Drexler all the time.
I got to respect Sam Cassell because watching him back in the day, that cat played, he was a hustler. He played ball. He had hustle about himself. Offensive, defensive side. I mean, it didn't matter. Whatever. He was one of them players that got on your nerves. He played so well. So if Clyde got his attention, you know Clyde was on his ish. You feel me? Yeah, for real, for real.
It was so many great memories. I remember one time we was playing you in Portland. I said, I'm going to get Clyde stuff because I know he's going to do that spin with his head down and do that finger roll. Man, I dang near put my arm out of socket trying to swing at it. And the ball just shoot right over my face. Like, how in the heck?
Man, that finger roll was beautiful. I got to see that one more again.
Man, you in Portland. I said, I'm going to get Clyde stuff because I know he's going to do that spin with his head down.
People, watch this.
And do that finger roll. Man, I dang near put my arm out
slow
of socket
motion.
trying to swing at it. And the ball just said, shoot right over my face. Like, how the heck did he see me? It's like he spent it just a little bit more to get it over me. I was like, come on, man, I'm going to get it one time. Because he had all these moments for me.
Loved the game of basketball and was very unselfish. And Clyde doesn't get enough credit for his
No, he don't.
unselfishness. He could have chopped the ball up a lot, and he did. He gave the ball to his teammates. He trusted his teammates. He allowed Terry Porter to actually be a point guard, and I thought enhanced Terry Porter's name and his ability to be seen. But
That's good. I really like that because you clearly were athletic enough and skillful enough to pull all the attention, but you cared about sharing that attention with the team. That's big, man. That's how else can you build with some people other than sharing sharing the workload, trusting everybody to do their job, you know, sharing the workload. And being a force within the team, but knowing how to, you know, work along with your man instead of just it being all about you. So I can't knock that. That's beautiful, really.
Clyde could have just dominated that team at that particular point in time, like, say, Michael Jordan was dominating the Bulls statistically, like Dominique was dominating Atlanta. Clyde Drexler could have done the same thing, but he decided not to. And it made him an all-around player and a great teammate.
Clyde was a threat. You know, I'm not saying he wasn't a threat, but me being compared to him, I took offense to that.
We knew Clyde was a great player.
MJ, we know you took offense to it. MJ, we know you took offense to it. Anything that made MJ feel like he couldn't achieve it, he was looked at as less than, or you couldn't do it, that put a flame in that man, and I mean, the rest is history.
A Hall of Famer, but we had known what we could do with the basketball team we had. We won a championship last year. So now our opportunity seemed like it was being taken away from us.
Also very happy when I see what we're getting, our old teammate. We talk about this all the time in the All-Star break. If we can play together again, you know, it would be so much fun. It was just like a dream.
And I remember playing against Clyde in the NBA Finals, and I'll never forget, I'm backpedaling, and he's coming down on a break, and I decide to stop, and I'm going to take a charge. And the only thing I saw was his knees, like, tucking in the air and him jumping over me and dunking it. Dumars took it out of bounds, and I asked him, I said, did he just jump over my head? And Dumars goes, yeah, and Dumars and I are coming up the court, and we're talking to each other about the play that Clyde just made in terms of jumping over my head, and I'm sure everybody else thought that we were talking about, you know, something that was happening, you know, that play that we were getting run around, but, you know, we were definitely talking
they were talking about the last
what
play
we had just saw Clyde do, so. You know, again, with his athleticism, his toughness, you know, it was very difficult to play against him or guard him or to stop him. You just tried to contain him.
That doing Isaiah, man, he is a very, when they call him the bad boy, he does not come off like that in the interviews. Like when he's going back telling these stories, you would think that's the nicest baller you've ever seen, man. It's just, they're so humble and open about the stories, and you know, I mean, from what I've been told, pretty much honest about the things that went on. But you know, he's just not seen like the guy they would call him one of the bad boys, the one that didn't he headbutt his coach or something like that?
He's had plenty of great nicknames over its history. I don't know that any one of them fits a player better than Clyde the Glide, because there was such an athletic.
Told you, Clyde the Glide.
He was just smooth, man. Clyde played the game hard and efficient, but he was so cool the way he played and so smooth, and he made the game seem effortless. And when you watch him, man, everything was just done with ease, but he was a great player. He was a lethal scorer. And at the time, the only Achilles heel Clyde Drexler had, that he played in the same era as Michael Jordan. Because during that era, if it wasn't for Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler would have been known as the best two guard in the East or Western Conference, hands down.
Well, how did
You heard it. You heard that. Jordan in front of him kind of kept him out the media. He was so, yeah. It's just like a lot of people didn't get reads with Jordan playing. Same thing, you feel me?
you stack up during that area when you're playing
That's
against
clean
him in
suit.
terms of how you're scouting him, where he is on the whiteboard before the game?
John, I remember talking to John Lucas one time, and Lucas told me that, you know, we was talking about Clyde Drexler and that he's really right-hand dominant. And John Lucas said, but it doesn't matter. If you're so good and everyone know you going that way and they still can't stop, what does that say about him? And more importantly, what does it say about you? Clyde Drexler was just one of those guys to where when he made up his mind where he wanted to go and what he wanted to do, that was no stopping him. First, he was a great athlete. Second, he played the game hard. And then the way they played in Portland, out in transition with that crowd, with him, Jerome Kersey, and Terry Porter, man, it was must-see TV. But they were one of the most talented teams in the NBA during that era.
Well, the image you see behind
I
you.
gotta hear that line
Made
again.
up his mind where he wanted.
Let's hear this line about that right hand one more time. A very unique bar he just dropped.
Right-hand dominant. And John Lucas said, but it doesn't matter. If you're so good and everyone know you going that way and they still can't stop, what does that say about him, and more importantly, what does it say about you? Clyde Drexler.
What does that say about him, and what does that say about you? To know somebody is dominant on their right, and you can't stop them. Same thing with MJ. Knowing they dominant on a certain part of their body, and you right hand, and you can't stop it. You know they're going right, and you still can't stop it. So that say a lot about him. That say a lot about Clyde. But look at guys, I ain't gonna hold you up. I know y'all gotta get the spaghettis and garlic bread ready for this evening. And get your wife some flowers, man. Quit being a cheap ass. Anyway, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And jump in these comments and let me know how you feel about Clyde being just as good as Jordan. Even though we didn't hear about it back then. Maybe that was your era. Maybe you were really into ball. Maybe that was you're in this age group. And you might know something I don't know about Clyde back then. You feel me? Because when I came along, by the time I last tuned to it, it was straight Jordan. You know, Jordan, Kobe, Shaq. You know what I mean? So, Pippen, players along that line, Dominique Wilkins. So, if you know something about Clyde, jump in the comments, tell me what you think about it, man. Do you think Clyde was as good as Jordan? Just let me know. Y'all watch the games. Some of you even been to the game. I hadn't even been to the game. Some of y'all been to the games. So get in them comments and let me know something. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Peace.